We welcome now Dr. Ben Burnett, president of William Carey University. Dr. Burnett, good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Good morning, Gerard. It's always a pleasure to be on any one of the shows of this great network. I'm a big fan.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So, you guys are experiencing some significant growth, as we understand it. To what
Yes, sir.
do you attribute that growth, Dr. Burnett?
Well, it's been decades of hard work. It didn't just all of a sudden happen. And the growth really started about 10 years ago. Most of our growth came from adding a new graduate medical programs. Our College of Osteopathic Medicine, now the largest medical school in the state of Mississippi. We have right around 800 students in our College of Medicine. And I am actually doing this interview from our pharmacy school at our Biloxi campus. A lot of people may not even know that we have a fully nationally accredited pharmacy school here on our Biloxi campus in the Tradition area on Highway 67. And so programs like that, our physical therapy program, and it's a doctorate in physical therapy in Hattiesburg. So a lot of graduate programs have been added like that. But what we've done in the last couple of years is to concentrate on our undergraduate population, because we grew really from the top down with graduate population. And so we've concentrated on getting those 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds so we can build our own recruiting pipeline for our graduate programs. And we had a record number of first-time freshmen, record number of on-campus residents this year, and also a record number of transfer students. We depend heavily on our community colleges. Our population this year was about 61% community college transfers for our undergraduate population. So we don't try to talk them out of going to community college. I mean, we'd love to have them as a freshman, but we really want them to know that we give great scholarships when they get ready to transfer. And back to your question, what we really attribute the growth of that population to is the fact that we are stepping up to the plate to make college affordable for all of our students. You know, there's a whole lot of debate in our country about should you forgive student loans. Think that students ought to graduate without having a lot of student loans, and that's a much better way to look at it. And so we're ranked number one in Mississippi of all 15 colleges and universities for being the most affordable, the best value in the state of Mississippi. And most people wouldn't think that, since we're a private Christian university, but our tuition is competitive, and we pay for our students' textbooks. They don't have a textbook bill if they're undergraduate students. So we're affordable. We have a Christian environment, which I think is very important in today's culture.
Wow, that's awesome. I like to say that I have passed by the campus on the coast many times. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. You guys know we're proud, as you should be. So one question I have about just the pharmacy school, this is an area where we need graduates, right? We need pharmacists. I mean, all of these curricula are turning out graduates in areas that are in need in society, but in particular in this area. Isn't that right, Dr. Burnett?
It is, and we're feeling a great need really here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, you know, with pharmacists. But we really think that, or believe strongly that our mission at William Carey is helping the state of Mississippi in pockets where we need it the most. I'm a native Mississippian. I was born in the Delta, but spent most of my life in Hattiesburg. We have a real passion for the rural parts of Mississippi. Our College of Medicine has been ranked number one and number two in the nation by U.S. News and World Report for placing doctors in rural areas. Our nursing program had 800 nursing majors just this fall, and we've been placing on average around 80 to 90 nursing graduates just in rural health clinics over the last 6 or 7 years. So between that and our School of Education and also graduating ministers to go into the rural churches, we feel like we're building Mississippi up from the bottom.
Yeah, that's awesome. So desperately needed as well. So talk about your future. What have you got on the boards that you could share with us from a strategic and visionary perspective?
Well, we've got a lot. Well, we feel like we've accomplished a lot and grown a lot. in the last several decades, through the hard work of prior presidents and committed faculty. But we've got some things on the drawing board to propel us into the future, because we don't want to just be happy with where we are. And speaking of the Tradition campus down here on the coast, we are fundraising and seeking funds to build a residential facility here on the coast, because we don't have any dorm space here on our coast campus. And we've got plenty of land. As you said, you've driven by it before.
Yeah.
It's in a great area. It's like 10 minutes from I-10 in D'Iberville, 10 minutes to Highway 49. So it's a great area. So that's the most immediate need. But we also announced just a couple of weeks ago in the Hattiesburg campus, which has been our main campus since 1906 when we moved there from Poplarville. But we're on about 130 acres there in Hattiesburg, but we just purchased another 107 acres. So and it's continuous to our current campus. It's undeveloped. It's not there's no houses on it. It's timberland, and it goes almost to Highway 49. So we've got the future, and that'll be the next 10 to 20 to 30 years in the making for William Carey in Hattiesburg. And so we plan on building up both campuses, Hattiesburg and Biloxi, because they serve a different population, different communities, and we want to keep growing in both areas.
Tell us about the baseball team. I know it's always extremely competitive and has produced lots of great athletes. What's going on there?
Yeah. Well, a couple of things listeners may not know. There's been several national championships at Division I in Mississippi, which is, we're all proud of Mississippi for doing that. Also at Division II, with Delta State, community colleges have won the national championship. But the first ever national championship in baseball was William Carey College in 1969. So we have a long-standing tradition. Another thing they may not know is that our coach, Bobby Halford, who was just inducted into the National Hall of Fame this past year, is the winningest coach in college baseball history in Mississippi. He has more wins at William Carey than even the legendary Ron Polk did at Mississippi State. And he's still coaching. He's been with us over 50 years, counting his time as a player, assistant coach, and now head coach for 40 years. He's approaching 1,350 wins, and he'll certainly surpass that. Back-to-back World Series appearances, and they're off to a good start. Only played just a handful of games, but had 3 different series and won each one of the series, and they'll be having a contest with one of our conference opponents this weekend in Hattiesburg, which will be a big one. But people know us for baseball, but we have 21 athletic teams, 400 athletes. And we crunched the numbers a couple of months ago, and in 2023-24, last school year, the highest winning percentage of any 4-year college or university in Mississippi in athletics was William Carey University at 68% winning percentage.
That's
Our
awesome.
women's basketball team is 23-0, and going into their last 2 regular season games this week and over the weekend, and have a real shot at finishing undefeated in the regular season. So we've got a lot of great things going on academically, athletically, and moving into the future.
Speaking of the future, what stresses you, Dr. Burnett? What are you concerned about? I mean, it's no secret the entire higher ed community has been upended somewhat in the last few years, and is looking for direction and how to deal with the future. Before we go here in a couple of minutes, what do you think?
Well, I think your question's a great one, and everybody in higher ed, if they're not thinking along those lines, then they've got their head stuck in the sand somewhere. This first 28 years of my career I spent in K-12, and I retired as a school superintendent, which has its own, I had 10,000 students, and that had its own challenges, certainly. But there's a lot more uncertainty in higher education because, we go semester to semester.
Yeah.
And although we're doing great now, that could change and turn on a dime. So just the culture of higher education, but I feel like we're an outlier because we are growing. and we've got some programs that other people don't have. We've got an environment that other people don't have. We're financially solid right now. But it does keep me up at night just with the competition of higher education. Mississippi is losing population every year, and there are less college age going people in the country right now, just from a demographic standpoint. So we're getting more competitive, but we're gonna keep being competitive. William Carey.
Appreciate it. Dr. Ben Burnett, president of William Carey University, has been our guest. Good to see you, sir. We'll talk again soon. Appreciate it.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. We're coming right back in the Element